Hooray! More WCW fun! I'm John Rentham with every WCW pay-per-view main event ranked from worst to best part 1. At least a 3 or 4 part series because I have, count them, 113 different closed-circuit pay-per-view main events to talk about. However, WCW did put on more than 113 closed-circuit pay-per-view events, like some that aren't available on the WWE Network, and I'm going to mention them here so people don't wonder why I didn't discuss the main events of events that I didn't have access to. Anyway, Great American Bash 1985, WCW New Japan Super Shows 1, 2, and 3, When Worlds Collide 1994, Collision in Korea 1995, World Wrestling Peace Festival 1996, Millennium Final in Germany. So with that out of the way, 113 of these things. So I'll rant about a few, but you can find a lot of reviews where I discuss these matches more in full, but let's have fun and start at 113, Goldberg versus Chronic, Halloween Havoc 2000. So Chronic was somewhat over. They were two big ass-kicking guys, Brian Adams, Brian Clark. They've been through a lot of weird gimmicks, Brian Adams in particular. Though Brian Clark, did have the Night Stalker and Adam fucking Bomb. And they took on Goldberg, who was, back from an injury after a few months. And let's be honest, this match wasn't going to be very good because it was two very like styles. Chronic could not really work, but they could be good power guys. And Goldberg certainly couldn't work, but he could be a good power guy. However, they had it where Chronic had taken out Goldberg, and he had some kind of, there was a debate whether he was going to be able to make it. And there was this edict handed down by Vince Russo when Vince Russo still had control of the company. Thank fucking Christ, this was the last event he had any control over. Because goddamn did Vince Russo wreck WCW more than it already was, which is saying something. Goldberg, had some kind, he may have had a concussion or he may not have been able to, get there. And this was like 3.5 minutes and it was an elimination match and it was stupid. Goldberg had to replicate his streak to get another shot at the WCW Championship. But there was no way he was going to do that. And they would write him off of television at Sin 2001. But here, he just beat Chronic pretty much easily. It was like 3.5 minutes. And it was a really pointless main event. And did nothing for nobody. Didn't help Goldberg. Didn't help Chronic. And it was a pretty bad end to a not very good show. That sadly, WCW pay-per-views got a little bit better after this. Because Vince Russo got out. But this was not a very good, match. It was a great way to end the Russo era with a fucking whimper. 112, Rick Steiner versus Arn Anderson and Paul E. Dangerously, Great American Bash 1991. No, Lex Luger and Barry Windham to crown a new NWA champion. That did not close the show. Also, it was going to become the WCW championship because they were going to get away from the NWA and then have, some weird thing going on with the NWA where they would sometimes be aligned and sometimes not be aligned, and it was really, really messy from like 91 to like 94 when they did the International Championship in 93 and then did all that. But anyway, about this match, it was supposed to be Rick Steiner and Missy Hyatt against Arn and Paul E. But I believe it was in Baltimore. They would not allow intergender matches. So Missy Hyatt was taken away, and Rick Steiner beat Arn and Paul E in about, 2.5 minutes. That was the cage match they had to close the goddamn show. It couldn't have been Luger and Windham, whether, you like Luger or not. Him being anointed as the guy, even though everybody kept chanting, "We want Flair, we want Flair." Thanks, Jim Herd, you fucking idiot. It should have closed with a new champion. But no, we closed with this, and it ended with a fucking whimper. Still just a little bit better than Goldberg versus Chronic. Not by much, though. 111, Sting versus Hogan, WCW title, Fall Brawl 99. So Hogan had turned back into the red and yellow, I believe, on a Nitro. I want to say it was August 9th, 1999. And big pop and everything. He beat Nash in a career-ending match, even though Nash was back on television within a couple months, maybe even a couple weeks. Really hard to goddamn tell because retirements didn't mean anything. Ask Terry Funk. But as for this, Hogan was the champion, and he was going to be, he was going to turn back into the red and yellow and be, he was going to be all this and do the thing to the ear. And Randy Savage was out of the picture because he had his last match against Dennis fucking Rodman at Road Wild 99. No, really. And Hogan was, being the same guy that he basically was in the early 90s and the late 80s and the mid 80s. And people were starting to boo it. But instead of leaning into that again, they decided to make Sting a bad guy. Sting, the perennial good guy that nobody wanted to fucking boo. But they had Luger interfere, and they had Sting turn heel and win the championship, and it was really fucking pointless, and everybody fucking hated it. It was really goddamn bad. This was also the pay-per-view right after Bischoff had been fired, sent home, and They really had nobody good running the goddamn show because Vince Russo had not jumped to WCW yet, where he ran things further into the goddamn ground. But yeah, a heel Sting. Yeah, nobody bought into that. Nobody bought into it in Impact Wrestling either, even though they tried to do better with it. Because nobody wanted to boo Sting because he's Sting. Anyway, so we get to 110. DDP and Jay Leno versus Hogan and Bischoff. Road Wild 1998. They put Jay fucking Leno in a goddamn wrestling ring. Now, let me just say right now, Jay Leno, very funny guy. Seems to do a lot of good shit with, his fame and everything. Has a hell of a car collection. Even as somebody that's not a big car fanatic, I can appreciate that. And he did find following up Johnny Carson as a late-night talk show host. Key words there, late-night talk show host. Not a wrestler. They put him in the ring. Have him in the corner. They put him in the goddamn ring. And Road Wild 98 already wasn't very good. I mean, none of the Road Wild events. Hog Wild 96, Road Wild 97, 98, or Road Wild 99, where they actually moved it to a different part of Sturgis, which was kind of fucking hilarious. Now they decided to put Jay Leno there, where the crowd already didn't give a shit. I mean, some people knew who Jay Leno was because he's, I guess, an avid, motorcyclist or biker, whatever the term you people use is. But he got in the ring and he had an armbar on Hogan to do all this stuff. And Hogan, yeah, I may not care for Hogan right now, but Hogan selling that fucking bullshit, that was goddamn stupid. Really, really fucking bad. I goddamn hated it. I couldn't believe that they put this on the main event of a pay-per-view. Actually, I could, because WCW at this point was grasping at straws just to try anything to stay ahead of WWE or even, stay competitive with them. And it sure wouldn't be, about 6 months later. But Jay Leno in a ring, and he got the win. It wasn't like DDP pinned Hogan or pinned Bischoff. No, Jay Leno got the fucking pin. Fucking revolting. 109, Hogan versus the Butcher, Starrcade 1994. I wanted to rank this as the worst one, but I just realized that even though the Butcher, one of the many thousands of gimmicks that Bruce Beefcake had, as bad as it was to see him main event a Starrcade pay-per-view, he's a good worker, not a main eventer. Hogan wanted to work with his friend. It was bad. It was really goddamn bad. This is off the heels of the Butcher being revealed. He butchered the friendship at Halloween Havoc 94. Don't worry, I'm going to talk about that match here soon. It was really goddamn bad. Because this match should have not gone more than maybe 3 minutes with Hogan basically squashing the guy. Yes, Savage showed up afterwards, and it was a big fucking melee and everything, and they decided to have Savage in Hogan's shadow again, even though Savage should have had Hogan in his shadow, because Savage was always better than Hulk Hogan. But anyway, this is not good. It was not a good match at all. Why in the world would you want to watch these two? And the crowd didn't even seem to care. Because by this point, things were starting to go down a little bit for WCW as far as Hogan, being the big box office attraction. Yes, he was helpful in them getting, TV clearance for Nitro, along with some others. But people were like, okay, the big pop of Hogan showing up at Bash at the Beach 94 was great. And then things started wait a second, he's still the same Hulk Hogan. He's just, in a new company, and he's doing the same shit. Now he's working with one of his friends. And I think even back then, people could tell that Brutus Beefcake was only there because he was Hogan's friend. And then he went through a whole bunch of other gimmicks. The Booty Man. He went to Zodiac, the man with no name. Then the Disciple. I gotta admit, at the time, I didn't know a Disciple was Brutus Beefcake because he looked totally different. Yeah, I didn't like this match. Anyway, number 108, Goldberg versus Sting. WCW Championship, Halloween Havoc 99. So Sting wins the championship from Hogan earlier in the night because Hogan laid down, because why the fuck not? One of the few times that Hogan laid down for anybody, at least voluntarily. And Goldberg I think he'd beaten Sid earlier in the night. And then the idea was, okay, are we going to have, Goldberg win the championship from Sting? Oh, it's non-title. And then at the end, Goldberg's announced as a champion. And then the championship's held up and we have a tournament go into Mayhem 99. Vince Russo did not know how to book a goddamn show at all. And Goldberg should have at least beaten Sting here and held the championship for a bit. Then maybe you could have had Bret Hart beat him. But no, they couldn't do that. They had to have a non-title match turn into a title change. And nobody fucking knew what was going on. And by this point, it was obvious that WCW was really going to spiral out of control. And boy, did it ever. Number 107, Hogan versus the Giant, WCW title. We got Halloween Havoc 95. Yeah. This was pretty goddamn shit. It was the Yeti's debut. Why the fuck would you want to see that? Like, really, why on earth would you want to see the Yeti show up? It was really goddamn stupid and goddamn bullshit, and nobody fucking cared about it. Like, why in the world did anybody think that this was a good goddamn idea? Like, really, who thought that this was going to be a good idea? They had a monster truck fight, and then Hogan was like, oh, I apologize for what happened to the Giant. I can't fucking believe this. And then he shows up. The Giant shows up after falling into the river, or one of the lakes, wherever the fuck it was. Some body of water, not wet, all fine. They proceed to have a match that wasn't very good, to say the least. But, the match would have been okay had they not done the bullshit finish. They did the bullshit finish where the Yeti, who's a mummy, just dressed up in, used toilet paper and paper towels, shows up, and basically him and the Giant double penetrate Hulk Hogan, or at least attempt to, and then Giant walks out with the WCW Championship. And Jimmy Hart had power of attorney and made him the champion, because why the fuck not and everything. And this was bad. Really, really fucking bad. I fucking hated it. It was absolute dog shit. So, yeah, I mean, what else can I fucking say about it? I mean, this has been done to fucking death. It was really goddamn bad. 106, Hogan versus Flair. Yappy Pappy Strap Match, Uncensored 2000. No, really, that's what they fucking called it. Yeah, so let's have Hogan and Flair main event a pay-per-view in 2000. Nobody fucking wanted that. I don't even think Hogan and Flair wanted that, maybe besides the pay-per-view payoff. They shouldn't have been main eventing pay-per-views. It was really fucking bad. They were doing the same shit that they were doing. Hogan was back to being the black and white, but also being the good guy. Flair was doing the same shit he was doing. Russo was basically burying Flair. I mean, there was nothing positive about this. Like, this wouldn't have even been good in 95. It was absolute dog shit in 2000. I mean, they couldn't move. They couldn't really do anything. Hogan was just doing the same Hulk up stuff and all that. It was absolute fucking shit. I couldn't goddamn believe that they thought this was a good idea. And nope, they decided to just say, fuck it, we're just going to fucking do this. And fans be damned. And fans were really tuning out at this point because they'd had it. They wanted new guys, and they introduced the new guys in the wrong way. And that's basically what we got here. We got two old guys when new guys should have been introduced about a year before and then featured in a spot like this. So, 105, Hogan, Savage versus the Alliance to end Hulkamania. And yeah, the Alliance to end Hulkamania. Let me see if I can do this from memory. Flair, Arn, Luger, Barbarian, Ming, Sullivan. I think Sullivan was there. He was the Taskmaster. And Z-Gangster, the late Tony Lister. Which, Tony Tiny Lister, president from The Fifth Element. Really, really great, role for him. And, of course, Friday. Very iconic role on Friday. And rest in peace to him. I know that he passed away about a month or two ago, but still a shame. And then also a guy that was Bane in the Batman and Robin movie, and they called him first the Final Solution. No, they really called him that. And they didn't know why there was backlash for it. Maybe you guys should study your history. Then they changed it to the Ultimate Solution, which isn't any better. It was a three-tiered cage match, and okay, everybody's focused on the goddamn ring, and they got this three-tiered cage match over here. And they decided to just have the worst goddamn cage match that you've seen, at least in the modern age. I mean, at least in the 90s. They had to battle from the top to the second cage and then lock people away and everything. And then they get down to this cage that's over this ring, this other ring that's in the entranceway. And then they battle to the, ring, battle a bit. And then Luger ends up accidentally, hitting Flair accidentally. But he's like, oh, wait, I'm supposed to hit Flair. I paused. Shit. I hit. Okay, people can edit that. Lex, it's a live pay-per-view. Oh, damn. But yeah, they did that. It was Hogan and Savage versus like 18 guys, and they beat him. Because one of the guys was a goddamn idiot. Of course, it was Luger, so naturally he would be an idiot. But yeah, the Alliance to end Hulkamania. I may actually retro-review this entire event in March. But goddamn. The Final Solution changed to the Ultimate Solution. And they thought that was somehow better. We then get the 104, Sting versus the Black Scorpion, Steel Cage NWA title match, Starrcade 1990. I retro-reviewed this recently, and boy, this is not fun. There were about 18 guys, or maybe 20 guys, who were playing the Black Scorpion, and I guess one guy that played it, that did the magic tricks, was actually a magician, and hey, he did some pretty cool shit. As far as magic tricks, he didn't wrestle, but it was Sting's championship reign after this big win at Great American Bash 1990, after coming back from a torn ACL really quickly, miraculously quickly. They decided to just do this and have him face off against a guy that did disappearing acts and had people turn into tigers, and they're great, and then, make girls disappear and do a whole bunch of stuff, and it was bad. It was really fucking bad. Ole Anderson was voiced as Black Scorpion, by the way. And Ric Flair played the Scorpion here. And you know how good it was? It wasn't. It was not fucking good at all. It was really goddamn dog shit. I can't actually believe they thought that this would fucking work. And it didn't. Because nobody fucking cared one goddamn bit. And then he got unmasked and was revealed to be Ric Flair, and everybody moved on with their lives because nobody gave a shit. Sting lost the championship to Flair soon after this. Thanks for coming, Sting. Thanks for all that build. Pretty much just cut the legs out from under you right there. So, 103, Sting versus Hogan, WCW title, Starrcade 1997. All they had to do was have Sting beat Hogan decisively. They did not do that. He wasn't tan enough. He wasn't motivated enough. So Hogan, tan enough for about 15,000 people at that point, or 19,000 people in the arena, decided to just basically, come up with a fluky finish and everything, and Bischoff defended this. And I usually like Bischoff, but the explanation for why he was like this was really fucking stupid. Really, really fucking stupid. I don't buy it. It's like, if Sting wasn't motivated, here's the thing. You put the championship on him anyway. You take it off of him in a couple months, but you give him this big win. No, let's just have a fluky thing. Do the screwjob thing, because Bret Hart that we brought in, that we didn't put on Nitro right after the Montreal screwjob, the night after, all you had to do was put him on there, have him cut a promo. And you had the WWE dead to rights. Nope, you couldn't do that. They screwed up all that shit. I'm not saying that Bret could have fucking wrestled, but you could add him, cut promo after promo after promo. And then he could have been a special guest referee here. Been a deciding factor if they had actually done the goddamn fast count, but they didn't, because Nick Patrick either screwed up or was probably told by Hogan, 1, 2, 3, just do a normal 3 count, 1, 2, 3, and nope, they couldn't do the simple things. And then Sting won the match in a restart, and then the title was held up the next night because Hogan screwed over Sting, held the tights, and then the title was held up until Super Brawl 8. Thanks for coming, Sting. There's 9 months or about a year of fucking build flushed down the goddamn toilet, and no wonder WCW went out of business, because motherfucker, that was fucking rotten. The entrances were great. The build for this, guys, I vividly remember the fucking build for this. From, like, they'd been, not promoting it necessarily, but when Sting had, felt like he was betrayed at Fall Brawl 96, he had basically come in and done all this. He'd come in, he'd, like, attack WCW guys, he'd, attack, he'd, push people off and stuff like that. Maybe he was aligned with the NWO, then he showed up at Uncensored 97 at the end, proved that he was 100% with WCW and was going to come after Hogan, and they did this build forever and ever. Even a title switch between Luger and Hogan for 5 days heading into Road Wild 97. Hey, that didn't derail it. People still wanted to see it, and they fucked it up. I will never forgive WCW for fucking this shit up. I'm actually kind of glad they went out of business because of shit like this. They had such a chance. The build for this was incredible, and they fucked it up. So then we get to, oh boy. Speaking of Starrcade, Bret versus Goldberg, Starrcade 1999, WCW Championship. So, Bret had won the championship at Mayhem 99. They'd done a whole, goofy thing with him and Goldberg winning the tag team championships and then fucking all that up because they had this match in. Goldberg just kicking Bret right in the goddamn head. Now, Goldberg has taken blame for this. He should, but he's taken blame for this, and accidents do happen. But Bret has called him a klutz and, basically said that he ended his career. And he did. He did fucking end his career. Now, WCW should have let Bret have some time off, and maybe Bret would have been okay. He had a severe concussion. He wouldn't have been able to wrestle for a couple months, but maybe he would have been able to wrestle had he gotten proper treatment. He didn't. He had a hardcore match with Terry Funk, I think, very soon after this, or to begin 2000, and the series of concussions pretty much led to the end of his career. That was one of the greatest careers that I've seen, and Bret Hart is my favorite wrestler of all time, and now they had to fuck that shit up. I can't fucking believe they fucked it up. Absolutely can't fucking believe it. They did that. Goldberg hurt him. I'm gonna, leave my Goldberg blame to the side, but it's so fucking goddamn revolting that is how Bret Hart's career ended. And he ended with another screwjob thing where Piper basically just screwed over Goldberg and handed Bret the championship, and he had no idea what was going on. Really, because he had a concussion. God damn it. 101, Sting versus Dick Roberts, Coal Miners Glove match, Halloween Havoc 1992. To quote Jim Cornette on his podcast, because his co-host said something about, Coal Miners Glove, they had this, it was spin the wheel, make the deal. When your snake turns on you, you know you made some bad life choices. And that's what happened. Not a coal miner's glove, being used to bust people open. Nope, Jake's Cobra turned on him, bit him, and that was it. That's what they did for that. That was Jake Roberts' run in WCW in a nutshell. He wasn't there for very long because Bill Watts cut his money down because he was trying to cut costs, and I don't blame him. And I'm sorry, but Jake Roberts, if he's to be believed, $3.5 million for Jake Roberts in '92. Jake Roberts wasn't worth $1.5 million, maybe $1 million, but not $3.5 million. That's fucking ridiculous. Sting Way, it was stupid. It was so fucking bad. This is so fucking bad. Let's wrap this up. Hogan versus Flair, barbed wire, first blood cage match, world championship, uncensored 99. If Flair lost, he'd retire. If he won, he would be the president for life because he'd already been president for 60 days after beating Bischoff for 90 days. It was 90 days, so he still was president. And he told Charles Robinson, hey, no matter what, don't count me down when Hogan pins me, and don't stop it for just a little bit of blood. So basically it was set up for Flair to win, and then Flair would lose at the next pay-per-view. And it wasn't good, because much like the Yappy Pappy strap match, I just enjoy saying that because it's so hilarious, they decided to just have Hogan and Flair main event another pay-per-view. And it was only slightly better than the Yappy Pappy strap match. It just sounds like some kind of off-brand, like, Danimals thing or something. You know what Danimals are, credit to you. But it was so bad. WCW was dying at this point. Even though they were getting some good ratings, like by late August, they had just given up because they had no structure. I mean, they didn't really have that much structure anyway. But this was just an indication that WCW was going downhill and fast. So then we get to number 99, Sting versus Hogan, vacant WCW Championship, Super Brawl 8. Okay, last one here. Yeah, this wasn't very good. Now, it was better than Starrcade 97 because Sting won, but they'd already cooled off Sting in just 2 months after all that build. And yes, Sting jumped down and, got the hot start and everything, and they did some really, really good stuff. But just what the fuck was this? What in the world was this? Why did they feel the need to, have a vacant championship match when you could have just had Sting hold the championship and then Hogan could demand his rematch? Said, okay, everything was set up for you, but I want my rematch. And they have this, and Sting beats him decisively and has a dominant run, at least until Spring Stampede 98 or something. No, they fuck it up and they do this, and yes, Sting wins, and then proceeds to have a not very good championship run until Randy Savage beats him at Spring Stampede 98. You know what? I'm going to continue this list a little bit later because I've ranted plenty. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.